Welcome to Chemo Glow, where the glow doesn't define me, I define the glow. This is episode 10, and I am so excited and a little nervous about this episode. I had to do a Facebook live stream to calm my nerves. I don't even know what I'm going to call this episode. I think I might call it The Gift, because Jeannette is my gift. You know, there's a quote that says, sorrow looks back, worry looks around, and faith looks up. When you hear her story, you will hear about the sorrow, you will understand the worry, but you will always see her looking up because her faith kept her grounded. Guys, I'm so excited about episode 10. And maybe I will call it The Gift because she is a gift to me and has been a gift to so many others. Enjoy episode 10, The Gift. Hi guys, this is Regina and you're listening to Chemo Glow, where the glow doesn't define me, I define the glow. Well, let me tell you about this glow. I would never had known in a timely manner about me having breast cancer if I didn't meet my next guest. So it is an amazing story. You guys make sure you listen all the way through. I'm excited to have my guest, Miss Jeannette Gregory. How you doing, sweetie?
I am doing well. Excited.
Yes. I've had like no motivation all day, but at like 6:30, I was like, I'm interviewing Jeannette, and I've been nervous.
Wow.
Nervous. I had to get on Facebook and say, guys, y'all just don't know. If you haven't listened to episode 1, you have been a part of this thing from the very beginning when I didn't even know. I had no idea, but I know now why we met when we met.
Right.
So before we get into exactly how you started this, dealing with the glow, being affected by the glow, I should say, let me tell my audience how I met you.
Okay.
You were at the experience, the Java Bean experience with Dina and Eric Bryce. It was not the month of October. I know that because I was diagnosed in February. You had came in to talk to the women to get mammograms. You were telling your story, putting the information out there. You had a table out there. And I remember you saying, ain't nobody listening. Y'all ain't listening to me. And I told myself right then and there that I was going to go get a mammogram. And I made sure before you left, I said, hey, I'm going to get a mammogram and I'm going to call you. Little did I know that your talk that night saved my life. I was only 36. At that time, they were telling women to get mammograms at 40? And
right.
I remember having to give you a call. And I told Dina, I said, Dina, I don't need to talk to any church folks right now because I don't know what I'm feeling like. I need to talk to somebody who's real. And she said, Jeannette, you already said you were going to give her a call, Jeannette. And man, I can't be crying at the very beginning of the podcast. But Jeannette, you were my person. You were my person. I had no idea. So now that I've told my audience a little bit how we met, back up a little bit and go to when we met. So how did you come familiar with the glow? Like, how did it affect your life? Starting out.
How did what did you say?
How were you introduced to cancer? Like,
well, I was really introduced to cancer abruptly.
Mm-hmm.
Because, my father had died from cancer many years prior. And my brother found out he was dying within like 2 days.
Wow.
Yes. And he fought for his life and He had liver cancer.
Okay.
He had just metastasized everywhere in his liver. And so while he was transitioning, my older sister, who had gone through cancer a couple of years before, she thought she had pneumonia. Mm-hmm. So she had gone to the doctor to get her results for her cough. She goes to the doctor and finds out that she got 6 months to live because the cancer has metastasized throughout her body, her lungs, her brain, her spine, just different areas of her body. Mm. So I'm still at the hospital, we're just praying, believing that my brother's going to live. My sister comes in and whispers to me and tells me that news. Yeah. So once the funeral for my brother is over, she wanted to bring all the family to my home so she could tell the family that she only had 6 months to live. So she did that. So I had determined in my heart, I'm going to breathe for her, be her arms, legs, whatever she needed me to be. But I had gone to get a mammogram. And during the time that they were getting ready to send her to Chapel Hill for more extensive, study and to start a chemo and everything, I found out I had cancer. And so during her fight at the end, I was going through tests, the mammogram and, all that other stuff they have you doing for days on end before. So on the day that I went in to have a double mastectomy was the day that I came home was the day that they released her to come home to hospice. Nothing else they could do for her.
Oh my goodness.
So that's why I say abruptly, because I remember when my husband and my daughter brought me home, got me in bed, and my husband went to buy a TV. And I told him, I don't want a TV in our room.
Yeah.
I just didn't know what I was getting into. Yeah. I just thought I was going to be quiet in my room, praying and meditating. Mm-hmm. I didn't realize how many days I was going to be in that room.
Oh my goodness.
So the doorbell rings, and it's my brother-in-law bringing my sister from the hospital to stop by my home to see me.
And she's coming home for hospice care.
Right. She hadn't even gotten home yet. She wanted to see me first.
Okay.
So that's how my journey started. It started with her fighting for her life and me having to fight for mine.
Yes. And so you had your father, your brother, your sister, and now you're being diagnosed with cancer.
Right.
Now, while you were going through treatment, how long was your sister in hospice care?
I came home in October. She came home in October and she died in November. Oh. So it was probably 4 weeks.
4 weeks.
It was long enough for me to recuperate, get my drains out. And my doctor told me he had never seen anybody heal that fast.
Yeah.
And I almost put my surgery off because in my mind, I didn't want to be in surgery and then she died.
Yeah.
And I didn't get those last words or whatever.
Yeah.
So God worked it out perfect.
Yes.
And to somebody else, what does she mean perfect? Yeah.
He worked it out.
I came home, I got to heal. And during my healing, I was taken over to her home almost every day. And there was a bed beside her bed. And she would lay there and give me all the things, like she would say, don't eat with a metal spoon or fork, utensils, when you're going through chemo.
Yeah.
Because it puts that metal taste in your mouth.
That metallic taste. Oh my goodness. People just understand. Yes.
She gave me all kind of advice.
Yeah.
And she asked me a question. She said, do you think your husband is strong enough to stand with you? She said, it doesn't matter who it is, no matter if it's your husband, your sister, your brother, whatever. She said, you got to make sure you have someone strong enough to stand with you and walk through the whole thing. And he did.
Yes. Yes.
He did.
Husband.
Yes.
Amazing. He is amazing. And I'm glad you said, you talk about that because during this, I've met a lot of women whose husbands or significant others said, I'm out.
Right.
And the first thing that someone asked, because when I was diagnosed, I was engaged. Someone was like, oh, and he stayed with you? And I was like,
My goodness.
yes. But now I realize why they said that. He stayed with you. And my thought was that I married a man or I was marrying a man that I knew that would be there. But
Right.
it's hard. It's very, very hard on the caregiver. So after your surgeries, after your, having to bury your sister, and what else did you have done during that time? Did you go through any other treatment?
Well, I went through the chemo. I didn't do any radiation.
Okay.
I did like 1 year of Herceptin,
Mm-hmm.
that drug. And that was it. That was pretty much it because I opted out of getting, um, I just decided I was just going to go flat chested.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I didn't want no more surgeries. And I remember
Yeah.
my husband saying, do you really have to do it? Don't do it for me.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking, I wasn't going to do it for nobody. I didn't feel like going through it. I was 54 years old. I didn't need to nurse no babies or nothing like that.
Uh-huh.
So I just chose not to have a reconstruction.
Uh-huh. I understand that. My husband was like, I'm good. I'm a leg man. That's all he kept saying.
Right,
At times, since we were still a young couple, I was like, well, we're planning to have kids. We're planning to do these things. And it took me almost 3 years to even do reconstruction. And then I ended up removing the right as well. And even then, I questioned it at that time. Um,
right.
now I'm glad that I did because of my girls, but that is about it. You know,
Yeah,
I was thinking about my girls and the questions that they would ask, but it's truly a choice for the
it
person.
is.
Hey, because having all those surgeries and the side effects just from anesthesia when you're getting put under, that takes
Right.
on you. So going through all that, how did you come out? How did you come out stronger, or what were you determined to do after coming out of all of that? Because I know you had when you came to speak to the audience, you were talking about your actual. I want to say '08, right? Yeah. So when I met Jeannette, she was actually talking about an organization that helps women get mammograms, find a place to get mammograms. Jeanette does it all. She didn't just help me; she helped my friends that were in Charlotte as well. I was able to call her for any support, and I still have the bears that you gave me during treatment. My
Oh,
and oh yeah, I was a tough cookie. You can tell them the truth about me when
oh yeah. You know what? I think you are the toughest cookie, toughest but the sweetest
I was so mad. I was
and angry.
so
Let's
mad,
okay.
angry.
Let's back up.
Yeah, yes, please.
Angry,
Mm-hmm.
tough,
Mm-hmm.
but I chose to find that sweetness in you
Yes,
because
you
I
did.
remember that. I remember the first day you talked to me.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the stuff I can't repeat, but you said, "I don't want no scriptures.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to hear no sermons."
Mm-hmm.
And I told you, I don't have any scriptures,
Uh-huh.
and I don't have any sermons.
Mm-hmm.
And then you began to tell me about you were engaged, and people were saying, "Are you still going to get married?" and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I said, "It's your choice." I say, "Everything is your choice to
Mm-hmm.
keep depressed, to get married. Everything is a choice.
Yeah.
It's not to be run past everybody."
Yeah.
Like, what do you think? What do you think about this? And what do you think about that? That's one thing I learned from my journey.
Mm-hmm.
I don't run too many things past people.
Yeah.
Really, I don't. Even
Yeah.
when I write books, I don't say, how do you like this?
Mm-hmm.
They get it when they get it, whether they like it or not. Somebody gonna like it.
Somebody. I have a couple of your books and I love them. And you got me. The fact that, if people don't know, my mother died of lung cancer. And during that time, I seen the ugliest thing come out of what I consider church folks. She was on her deathbed and they were knocking on the door asking for her tithes. I mean, literally hospice, where it was, I had to call my brothers and sisters and said, if you don't come get these people, my mother is dying. She's on her deathbed. She doesn't even know her name. And they're knocking on the door. Well, Sister Annie, you we still need your tithes, sis. And they was trying to tell me about the love note that God wrote and Jesus this. And I said, if y'all don't get out of this house, I am the last one. And so that was my impression of the the church family coming to help. They were really just stripping us away. And it left a bad taste in my mouth. And that's why I call it the glow. Like when I say I define the glow, I always looked at how my mother, how she died during her dying process. Because not only did my mother die, my brother died, and then my father died, and now my mom. And we had to deal with death and dying, but it was a slow process. Someone would get sick, and then they would die slow, and you had to watch. And then my dad got sick, and he died slow, and we watched it. Then my mom, after she buried her son, and then she had to bury her husband, and then she was getting her life together, and everything was good. The diagnosis, she thought she had bronchitis, and we thought she had lung cancer. And I didn't realize the different type of people who come out the woodworks.
Right.
It's different when it's your mama, and it really did something to me. And that's why I was like, I don't want to hear it, but you got it. You were right there. I remember sitting outside of my workplace where I was working at for 45 minutes. I talked to you, and I heard everything you said. I heard everything you said to me and how you said it. And I told Dina, I was like, I need somebody who gets it. Because I didn't know anybody going through breast cancer, and it was new to me. I've dealt with cancer, but not breast cancer. So, yeah, I was a tough one. God got the right one. God knew what he was doing.
Yeah, you're a tough one, but you are a sweet cookie. I love me some Regina.
Oh my
But it's
goodness.
one thing about me, I don't like things sugar-coated.
Exactly.
I don't like a lot of words. You know, you can ask a person a question and you got to hear 50 words before you hear the word that you need to hear.
Exactly.
There's a time for scripture. There's a time for prayer.
Yeah.
There's a time for so many things.
Yeah.
But when people are diagnosed, the best thing that you can do is listen. You can't just start giving out all this advice. Number one, you've never had cancer.
Yeah.
Number two, I don't want to hear that chemo killed your mother. You know, because chemo doesn't kill everybody. I don't know. Some people say they kill their mom and stuff, but it didn't kill anybody. It didn't kill me.
Yeah.
Some days it felt like I was dying.
Oh, yes.
But it didn't kill me. So my journey and my sister's journey, because I walked close with her during her journey, it taught me how to celebrate people.
Yeah.
It taught me how not to ignore people. Because the first thing people do when they hear that you got the C word cancer, they run, they scatter, they make excuses. Like, I would have people call me and say, I was coming by to see you today, but I have a cold and I know you're taking chemo. I don't know why when people get cancer, everybody else get a cold.
Or have you ever experienced when you were diagnosed that all of a sudden everybody else was sick around you?
Mm-hmm. They were sick, they couldn't come, or they were tired,
Yeah.
but one thing I can tell you, I had a good, strong foundation team. You know, my daughters at that time, my daughters twins and they're
Yeah.
nurses. They were
Yeah.
both nursing, and I called them my nurses. They took very good care of me
Yeah.
and my husband.
Uh-huh.
Yes, and I have, and I can't, I don't like to start calling names of who did what, because
Yeah.
sometimes people tend to forget that they did.
Yeah.
But even my church,
Mm-hmm.
the church that I was attending at the time that I was, they played a significant role in my healing.
Mm-hmm.
They would come together and pray. And they would use one woman, her name was Linda Cathcart. God rest her soul. She left me, one of my great, great friends. And what they would do, she would go to the elders, because she was one of them, and she would tell them what the doctor said.
Mm-hmm.
And then they would get together and pray about what the doctor said.
Uh-huh.
Now, I like that because I didn't have to talk to nobody but her.
That's a beautiful thing. And that's how I felt with you. I could talk to you and I knew that I was taken care of. I had people who already picked out their black dress and told me they did so.
Mm,
Told me they picked out their black dress. I had people who were, it was just interesting. Now, I had a great foundation. Like my husband and who I considered my spiritual family was the experience. Like all,
right,
like all at the right time. I had the people at the right time being there when I needed them, my family when I needed them. But I was moving to a new city and I
right,
needed to be able to call someone and say, this is ridiculous or whatever. Like some of the stuff you said, you can't repeat because I was so,
right.
but I needed to be able to say that freely. And
Right.
you didn't know me from a can of paint, you know?
But you know what I knew about you?
Uh huh.
You were a fighter.
Oh,
You had a lot of spunk.
mm hmm.
And I say, she's going to win. And you
Mm-hmm.
did.
I
I
did.
saw all the challenges. And then when I peeped your cars and saw that husband of yours, OMG, loves his Regina, takes very good care. He is the priest of your home. He's a covering.
Yes.
I knew you would be okay.
Mm hmm.
And
Yeah.
you would always tell me about you wanted a baby and blah, 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 blah. And it came to pass. I said, she good. I said, God got her.
Oh my goodness. You probably can hear him in the background because I just sent him a text and said, woo, y'all still laugh.
Let them laugh.
They are down there having a ball with their
Miracle babies. Let them laugh.
oh my goodness. And you would talk to me about that. You know, I could see that everything was possible. You know, when I came back and I still have a picture of us and I had this glow. I didn't take many pictures when I was going through, but I could call you and I could see you and we would meet up at the restaurant. Can't even remember what that restaurant was. Um, with the chicken. Oh my goodness. What was that thing I used to come down and eat all the time.
Right. It was so good.
So good. It's only here.
Right.
But we used to I could just talk to you and I could tell you exactly what was going on. And through your organization, I was able to actually connect other people with you. So tell us a little bit about your organization.
Celebrate Life '08. And many people ask me, why did we name it Celebrate Life '08? Because it was in 2008 that I lost my brother, my sister. I was diagnosed in 2008. And and one thing I did not say is my brother who died, his granddaughter was in one hospital fighting for her life.
Mm.
And I think it was like brain cancer. She had a tumor on the brain. And at that time, she was only, wow, she was young. She might have been 13 or something like that. He was in another hospital dying.
Mm.
Didn't make it. But 2008 was the year that I learned to celebrate. Because when we found out my sister was had 6 months to live, I didn't know anything about I had cancer.
Mm-hmm.
I put together a celebrate life for her, not knowing that one day this would be my ministry, not even knowing that at the moment I was planning that, I had cancer. I didn't know it.
Yeah.
And so we celebrated her, and I brought all these women together that knew her, and we gave her her flowers while she was still alive.
Yeah.
And we called it Celebrate Life.
Celebrate life.
So as I remember the day that I came home from the diagnosis, because the first time I went in, I had found a lump in the left breast.
Mm-hmm.
And so they started the whole process of going in, and they did the
biopsy.
They did the biopsy and everything. And then I had to see the surgeon and had to make the decision what we were going to do. But my decision was pretty much made for me because of my genetic report, the BRCA1, BRCA2. So the night before I went to the surgeon, I was just laying in the bed, and I just started touching on the other breast. And I was just kind of praying over myself. I say, what is that? I found a lump in my right breast.
Oh my
goodness. I didn't wake my husband up. I didn't even tell him. I didn't even know how to say it. Yeah. So when I went to the surgeon, as soon as I laid on the table and he reached over to touch the other breast, he said, do you realize there's a lump in your breast? And I said, yes. I found it last night. He said, does your family know? I said, no. He told the nurse, call her family back in, which would be my husband and my daughters. They had to start the process all over again on the right side. Long story short, they removed both breasts. I had a double mastectomy. But that's how it was named Celebrate Life. Yeah. Because I learned how to celebrate life. I learned how I love celebrating people. Like in the group, and you're in the group with the Thrivers.
Yes.
We celebrate something about a woman every day.
You do.
It's either her birthday or she got a 7-year anniversary or something. I don't like having to post those rest in peace post.
Yeah.
I don't like to have to put the picture up.
Yeah.
But you got to look at both sides of this thing. Some live, some don't.
Yeah.
And as survivors or thrivers, we have to come to grips with that. You know, I've had women say, well, I can't stay in this group because there's too many people dying. I mean, they dying outside the group too.
That's what I love about you. Whether in the group or out the group.
Well, look, I just let them pass and I don't say nothing.
Nothing. Like, I love that you do that. I love that you celebrate us. You give our flowers while we're here.
Yes.
We know that we can call you. And that has to have a pull on you. Because at one moment, I know I called you and I was just like, I just want to thank you. Because it's like somebody every week, something had happened.
Right.
And I knew some of the ones that you were really close with.
Right.
Because you take ownership of it. And that has to take something from you. So how do you take care of yourself while you're still celebrating life?
Well, to be honest, at first, I really wasn't. I thought I was, but it was affecting me. And then I said, well, I just won't get close to them. I remember when one of the ladies, her name was Pam, it broke me. Yeah. I mean, I cried at the funeral worse than her children did. And I knew I could not continue to do that.
Yeah.
So I just had to find a way to separate. But guess what? I don't know how to do that.
You don't. It's not in you.
Because we lost one of our Thriver sisters, Amy St. Victor.
Yeah.
She was funeralized 2 weeks ago. And matter of fact, it was just last week. I spoke at her funeral and I took the pink car over at the request of her sister.
Yeah.
But her sister wanted me to give an awareness talk at a funeral. That was my first one.
Wow.
But it's one thing Larry Gandy is a friend of
Yes.
both of us.
Uh-huh.
I never forget once Larry Gandy told me, he heard me speak one time and he thought I changed my story.
Uh-huh.
He said, don't ever change your story.
Yeah.
Don't ever change your message.
Yeah.
He said, when's the last time you heard, what is his name, Wes Brown, the motivational speaker?
Mm-hmm.
He said, when is the last time you heard him change his story? His story is always the same. That's your story.
Your awareness, that's what got me.
Right.
You were so real. There was no sugarcoating it for the audience.
You can't.
The audience looked like they weren't paying attention. You said, y'all don't hear me. And
right.
that's my attention. Y'all
yes.
don't hear me. And I was like, she's talking to me. There was a bunch of people in there. But
you taught me a lesson because you paid attention.
Uh-huh.
You contacted me the next week because you did pay attention. And I'm a part of a group of women called SWAM, Sisters with a Message. We go to the mountains every year, and I'm the speaker for awareness every year. I'm on the board there. And every year that I have spoken, when I walk away, there's a call that when a lady went home, she checked her breast and found a lump. And that's the truth.
And that's
now, I think last year, I don't think we had anybody diagnosed last year. But I'm serious. Women listen. So I don't change my story.
Yeah.
I don't change my unorthodox way of saying it.
Thank you.
I spoke one morning and a lady said, you are making fun of breast cancer. And so she had someone to find my number and everything. And we talked. And I said, ma'am, what you didn't get out of what I was saying, that was my story.
Yeah.
If I can't laugh at my story, I can't tell it.
Yes.
I can't stand up and cry every time I tell my story. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
My story has to change somebody's life. I refuse to keep traveling and going in here and coming out and going in and coming in. Some days I can't sleep just to be standing up there looking cute.
You know, the first time I've ever told my story, it was at your event.
Right.
You asked me, I was like, I don't have no story to tell. You were like, yes, you do.
Yes, you do.
And ever since then, I haven't stopped talking. That's why I got chemo. I know that's why I have chemo glow right now.
I love chemo glow. Most of the time, I don't get to hear it.
Yeah.
I have to go back and look, and sometimes I do go in and you go, there goes Jeannette, hey, Jeannette. But you did such a great job that night. You touched so many people telling that story. Because you know what? I listened, since Larry Gandy told me, you know what? You tell your real story.
Yeah.
He said, when you spoke on yesterday, that was not your story. Now, my story changes. The story doesn't change. Sometimes I add more because I forgot this part. So when I come over here, I tell it. And sometimes I can stand and look at my audience and I can discern what I need to say. I can look at a woman's face, even. Sometimes I don't talk about breast cancer awareness.
Yeah.
Sometimes I talk about being a woman.
Yeah.
I talk about the total woman because you know what? Breast cancer can come in because of unforgiveness, all kinds of things, worrying. So I believe if we handle things up front, sometimes we wouldn't have to deal with these tumors.
Yeah. And you don't just talk about like breast cancer. You've talked about ovarian cancer. You've talked about your organization, Celebrate Life, is celebrating life. And that's what I love about what you do. I had a friend and I now stay in a different city. So when she called me, I was like, Jeannette Gregory. That's who you need to call and show up. And you showed up. And you showed up with a gift basket. You showed up with your presence. And I remember Sakara saying, she really here. I said, oh, she's not playing. When I tell you I have somebody for you, that's
Right.
Gregory. And she got so much. Her and her husband got so much out of that. My husband, seeing how your husband has been with you, that was a blessing because he was at that first one that I did. So
Yes.
yeah, to see that, that was
Right.
because I think sometimes they get left behind or they feel as if, because I always used to say it's nothing like having to take care of somebody who's going through something. And my husband never been through that.
Right.
And so I was like, but when I tell you he did his thing and continues to do his thing.
He does, I know.
And
I remember when I pulled a team of men together, including my husband, to write the book, Love Me So I Can Live.
Oh,
that was hard for your husband because
that
he
was.
loved me so much. He wasn't ready to open up old wounds and start writing and talking. But it even brought a lot out of my husband that I didn't even know.
After that, we started having those conversations. And
Yes.
I had no idea how hard. I was like, did you call Jeannette back? Did you do this? And finally, I started to pay attention to his facial expression. And he was taking care of me and was not taking care of himself because I came first. And he made that very clear.
Right.
It takes a toll on you. So I was really, really excited that he still was a part of that process. But
Right.
him to open up, and now he's doing so much better with sharing his story, and I appreciate it. And he's been doing so much with different organizations and talking about just being a caregiver.
That's good.
Yeah. So what are you doing this year? Because it's different. COVID and cancer.
But you know what? COVID and cancer has me busy because what people don't understand. I'm passionate about what I do. Now, I'm watching people taking time off from breast cancer awareness. Just because we can't have chocolate rose balls and all these balls, it's other things we can do. Yeah. I have a little pink Mammobile.
Yes.
That I drive around Charlotte. And I have different organizations last year that donated different gifts and everything. And what they do, they would fill up my Mammobile, the backup, full of gifts. Like the Tavola senior citizens. They knit hats.
Yeah.
So they keep me busy. I had a whole back seat full of hats that I had to give away.
Oh, wow.
So many things. And I send out the cards. I have a line of cards, Inspiration by Jeannette. Matter of fact, I have 3 books that I'm going to give away on your podcast.
Okay.
One is Inspirations by Jeannette.
Oh, I love it.
And Comforting Words for a Weary Heart. Because you know what? Sometimes and these are small books that can go in a pocket. Sometimes when we lose loved ones, people don't know what to say.
They don't.
They come out of their mouth with some of the craziest things. I even have 100 ways 100 things you do not say to people with cancer. I wrote that book.
I got that book.
And I have people say, no way people said this. I said, honey, half the stuff in that book, they said it to me. I don't know what they said to nobody else. But the thing I don't like is when somebody would meet me and say, oh, poor thing, my mother died from that. I would be boiling, telling me what your mama died from. Okay, we're going to leave that alone. And to Love Me So I Can Live. This book is good for men.
Yes.
And, Mr. Michael Virgil, he helped write in this book, and he's still kind of speaking about, I think he's somewhere this week with this book.
Okay.
And I met, one of my good friends, Charles Allen, his wife was diagnosed, and he immediately he reminded me so much of your husband.
Uh-huh.
He loves his wife.
Yeah.
He just needed to know what he needed to do.
Yeah.
I gave him this book. And on the day I showed up for her first chemo, I surprised her.
Uh-huh.
When I looked in the corner, he was reading this book. He didn't know I was coming, so let me look at the book, make her think I'm reading it.
Yeah.
He was all in the book, and he lives by the book. So I'm going to give this out. Well, you give it out. Everybody, you know, it may be
Oh,
more than
I have
the
someone right now who October is a trigger month for her. Three times she's gone.
yeah,
She's going through reconstruction right now. And today I read her post. And normally she's very, very quiet. And I met her through someone because they were like, I think you will be helpful. And I have the perfect person who needs that because three times. Like everybody thinks, okay, you're diagnosed with cancer, then
right. That's
it's
it.
over with. You know, your hair grow back, you get well, my eyebrows didn't come back, but you know.
Mine didn't either. They look a mess tonight, but my eyebrows didn't come back. Chemo brain wouldn't leave me.
Man.
That's the other thing. People
Yeah.
don't realize that, okay, they say, oh, she's through with chemo. And they may hear you say you're struggling with something,
Yeah.
and they be like, I thought you were done with cancer.
Yeah.
You can be done with cancer.
Cancer.
You can be healed from cancer.
Yeah.
But that chemo can leave a side effect on you for so many different things. And talking about COVID and cancer, that's another thing. Like, I mail these books out. I made my book smaller now, so I can stick it in an envelope and mail them cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
I do the T-shirts, all kinds of things. And I may sell it to the public.
Yeah.
I don't sell anything to a thriver.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get things to people. You know, sometimes they think I'm trying to sell. No, I'm trying to give you this.
Yes.
So it's a ministry in itself. I talk to people on the phone. You would think that maybe she only talks to one person every 3 months.
Mm-mm.
Sometimes I get 3 calls in one day, Regina.
Oh, I know, because I'm one of those calls.
And I give them all their time.
Yes.
But now that I have my little grandson here,
Yeah.
I have to be on the little schedule like when he's asleep.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I do. This is not just for October.
It's not. That I just said that pink is not just for October, and it ain't all about pink. I get it.
Right. Right.
But I know the power of pink, and I know how you can pimp pink for the cure. Let me tell
Right. Now that's the truth.
you. Yeah. Pimping pink for the cure is a real business right here.
Right.
It saved lives. I volunteer. I've donated before, during, and after this process because COVID right now, I seen today that they were like the breast cancer rates are down, but it ain't down because people are not being diagnosed. People are not being seen. They're scared in. So, you know, cancer didn't disappear by 50% because of COVID. It just didn't happen. So we have to continue to put the message out there, not just for the month of October.
Right.
Yeah.
And see, mine is like you hear people talking about October. I'm not an October girl. I'm January through the whole year. It's a 12-month thing for me.
Exactly. That's why I did not meet you in October because I
No, you didn't.
February 27th, which means I actually seen you before, you know, in the month of February or the last part of January.
Right.
It took a minute for me to get my results back. And that's what's crazy. It wasn't in October.
Right.
Because it's 12 months a year.
Yeah.
What month you in, don't care what colors you wearing.
Now that's the truth.
It will tap you, but it's gonna tap you.
And you know, they call me the pink lady.
Uh-huh.
Or the pink lady
know.
with the boxing glove. But do you know my favorite color is not pink? It's symbolic of something. It's symbolic of the fight and the strength.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It's nothing about me looking cute in it because I look cute in purple.
That's my color. You see, chemo glow is purple, teals, all.
Right, right. And so there are many people that are drawn to me because I wear my hair short. They think, oh, it won't grow back. It'll grow back. I stay at the barbershop.
Mm-hmm.
When I speak to women and I got women in the audience with wigs on, they ready to take them off. Because I tell them how I sat on the front row of the church, took my wig off and put it in my Louis Vuitton bucket bag. It was hot.
My wig has had a front seat right beside me. I was in a training and I was hot and I was sweating. And finally somebody said, Miss Jones, you can take it off.
Right.
It was about 20 folks. And they was like, you can take it off. And I took that sucker right on off. That's just like that fake boob, that prosthetic I had. I was doing the training and it didn't up to my neck. And then somebody told me until I went to the bathroom, I said, all of y'all wrong. Y'all know this boob sitting right here on my neck and it don't match my skin color.
It don't even match your skin. Right.
So y'all know something was wrong. But
when it turns sideways because it's too big, they ain't measure you right.
They ain't measure you right. The pocket doesn't fit.
Right.
You don't get all those things that go on during the process. So after a while, like, I'm not wearing this. I'm not putting this on.
No.
I'm not drawing this on.
But Regina, another thing I teach women, or I try to set an example. Yeah. I won't tell them nothing that I haven't tried.
Yeah.
Most time I'll try it first.
Yeah.
Because I hear, one time a lady told me, she said, you need to hold your shoulders back because you're carrying shame, and the way you hold you know what? I said, somebody need to come get her because I don't know who she said told her that about me, but that ain't true. I had just had my breast removed. I didn't have no prosthetic, nothing on. And you got to learn how to hold yourself again without the weight of the breast.
Yes.
There's never been any shame in my game, but one thing I did learn when I was training for a triathlon, the suit that I had to wear in the swimming pool, I didn't know how to swim, no way. They taught me how to swim at the age of 63.
Oh, wow.
That's when I did my first one.
That's right.
I struggled the first day getting in the water because I didn't want to wear the prosthetics that you swim in.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to go bare chested with my tri-suit on. You zip it up, it's skin tight and all that kind of stuff. I said, you know what, Jeanette, go ahead and step out in the water and let everybody see it for one time and they all get it.
Yeah.
But then I learned, because I did not have breasts and I had broad shoulders, it made me a good swimmer.
See?
And I float very well on my back. So I talked to other women about doing a triathlon, and I encouraged at least 3 women to do the same. When cancer comes and the boobs go, it doesn't mean your life stops.
Yeah.
I have done more in 12 years that I have done I'm 66 now. Woo.
Yes.
66.
Amen.
I was diagnosed at 54 and I made it to 66. So it's not, I've been parasailing. I would have done none of this before cancer.
Yeah.
So what I do, I encourage women to get up and live.
Celebrate life.
Celebrate life and put shame on the side.
Oh my goodness.
Get rid of the shame. Okay, you don't have no breasts. That ain't what I really feel on the podcast, so we gonna call them breasts.
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't have no breasts. Okay. They're gonna know it one way or the other. So go on and let them get their first look.
Yes.
After that, nobody even looked my way.
Don't nobody even care after that. You know what? I got so used to being naked in front of so many people at one time.
I know.
Faze me. And then when you meet somebody, you lift your shirt up like,
oh my God. Regina, I took a stress test about 3 weeks ago. And so it was a young African-American man. I was like, man, he gonna be the one? So he told me I had to put on a little gown. I said, is he gonna be, shocked?
Uh-huh.
So when he opened it up, and I was like, you don't have women that can do this?
Uh-huh.
He had to put me together.
All the way.
I see this all the time. We get plenty of breath. In other words, you ain't, you're the only one came in here without them. So there was no shame for me. Sometimes when a person see it, it's a shock for them. I don't like shock people when they see that for the first time.
That's the globe. That's what when my mom, I used to hate that she had to appear to be all the way together when she was sick, when the chemo was just taking her through. And I was like, who has the energy for that?
Right.
Look that they used to give to her as they were asking her for her tithes. Get out.
Right.
You want me to kick them out? Because I'm going to kick them out. Whether you say yes or no, I'm going to kick them out. Look that they give you.
Right.
Like, wow. And I had a scare a couple of weeks ago, had to do a biopsy, whole thing. And this is my first time my husband hasn't been by my side. Hadn't been by my side because of COVID. First thing, he called back to see if I can come. I said, they said you can't come. Call him anyway. Okay. Let me call him. But when I got in there and the doctor was like, oh, they did a good job. And I'm like, you just going to talk about him like that? Because guess what? That's what they do.
Yeah.
I wasn't feeling shameful, but I was just like, it's a shame. It's the norm that they see so many women with the scars, with everything going on. But there's no shame in my game. Like, I will lift them up and show you. One lady told me that I got cancer because I got a mammogram.
Wow.
And I just said, so she can never be in another one of my trainings again. I don't care. But it's those things that you hear that people say stuff to you. And I'm like, wow.
Yes.
Someone says that their mother died of breast cancer. And I was like, so when have you had, when was your last mammogram? She said, I'm not doing that. I'd rather not know. Okay. What do you say to that? It's just the things that people think about cancer. It's so revealing and so crazy to me at the same time.
Right.
Because they don't think that that it will affect them. So I just keep moving on and pushing forward and hope that I reach people like you've reached me. And you've reached several women with Celebrate '08 because you don't sugarcoat it. You tell it like it is. And we appreciate that you do that.
Oh, I don't like people sugarcoating things with me. So I give what I need. And I don't need nobody sugarcoating anything. Even doctors, when they talk to me, give it to me. Don't beat around the bush.
Yeah. When you
say the right words, don't the right terminology.
Yeah. Don't sugarcoat it. Don't dumb it down. Give it to me like I can take it. I remember us sitting in the restaurant and we were talking about medication, and I couldn't take tamoxifen because of the blood clots that I suffered with. So you told me exactly what you did and why you did it. And I was like, I respect that. And I had a friend who just asked me about tamoxifen, and I was like, well, I know someone who didn't do it, and it is your choice.
Girl, I done had 12 years and they had no tamoxifen.
I know that's right.
I don't put it out there too much because I don't want anybody to do what I did.
Yeah, but it was a choice, and I like that I had that choice because I had to do something else. I had another choice, and it was because of your conversation that I know I had a choice. And I know that my friend had a choice. She looked at the percentages. She looked at everything. She said, it is not, no. And I was like, that is your choice. And don't let anybody else tell you anything different. So I appreciate you sharing that because you allow me to make choices, make good choices.
I believe that every woman should keep her voice. That's the main thing I tell women when they're diagnosed. Don't let anybody take your voice. Because even though my daughters, they're nurses, and at that time they could speak for me on certain things and I wanted them to.
Yeah.
But when it was time for me to speak, they didn't take my voice.
Yeah. And that's a
I
big
know what I
thing.
want. Some
Mm-hmm.
things I wanted was not the best thing for me. And one of them is very outspoken, and she let me know, no, that's not what you're gonna do, mama.
She sounds like I'm that twin that she is.
Right, right. She was like, I was saying, well, go and get another opinion. I had two opinions, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna try to keep the grass. No, you're not, mama. You're not gonna do it. I was like, okay, now she's the mother, and I'm the daughter. But you gotta have sane people in your corner.
Mm-hmm.
They say N-E, sane, because some people are crazy. They speak on subjects they know nothing of.
Nothing. I've heard the craziest stuff in this time. And that's why I know who to call. And then I know who not to share. I was very private during when I was first diagnosed. I mean, you were one of the few. It was you, my husband, that I talked to on a regular. Even my twin sister, she's one of those twins. And I don't know if one of your daughters is like this. She's very emotional. And she takes it all in. And she's
Right,
coming full force. And she gonna be there by your side, rubbing your back, and that is just who she was. But I know that it was a lot because we've already lost our mother. And
right,
because all we seen was death and dying, I know that's exactly why. Like, well, here we go with the fourth one, you know.
right.
And they, and somebody's like, death comes in threes, so you're the fourth one, so you might be okay. Like the stuff that
Oh my God.
would say. I was like, I'm lucky I did not catch a case.
Right. I know it.
Time I was
But Regina, I think, and I say this all the time, I went through a lot of grief. I grieved for my brother, and I was not finished grieving when I had to grieve for my sister.
Yeah.
I never really grieved for myself. So it wasn't the cancer that was trying to kill me, it was the grief.
It was the grief. And that grief is heavy.
That's why you just got to handle where you are. Sometimes you got too many voices in your ears.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that God did not give me a spirit of fear.
Yes.
I understand the scriptures.
Yeah.
I understand the word. I trust God more than anybody else would even believe. My faith is tight,
Yeah.
but I'm human.
Yes.
I lost my oldest sister, one who has been by my side for everything. No matter what surgery I had, she was there. When they rolled me into surgery, my brother-in-law had not yet gotten there to transport her to Charlotte.
Yeah.
She was on the phone with me, still trying to advise me. And they said, Miss Gregory, you got to put the phone away. So me having to do without her,
yeah.
and still have to do without her,
Yeah.
that's grief. It's hard. It's heavy. And sometimes you take it and put it aside, and I'm sure you all had to do it too, by them lying so close together.
Yeah.
You got to leave this one here because now we got to go over here and grieve this one.
Mm-hmm. And I'm finding myself grieving now that I have my girls because I'm looking at them and they're asking me, "Mommy, you have a boo boo. Mommy, where'd you get that boo boo from?" And I used to always say, "Well, this is my lifeline," because some reason they would gravitate to my pork scar. So I was like, I found myself saying, what if I have to leave my kids? What would I do? How would I handle it? How would I want them to remember me? And that made me think of, I never grieved for myself during the process. I was newly married. Like I was
Right.
married and then I was on the table. I never had a chance. I was only a wife for 16 days before I became he became my caregiver. Like all these dual roles were happening and we never had a chance. Right now we are at celebrating 9 years. It'll be 10 years in April. But
Wow.
we had planned to like build a house, sell of our houses, have children, do all this, and now we have children. We're building our home. and everything is coming around. And I'm realizing that life is not just good, it's great. And
It
it
is.
happened the way it was supposed to happen. Because if I had not met Jeannette Gregory, I am sure of it, I would have not known I was walking around with breast cancer. I was only 36 with no lump. They told me,
Right.
wow, you got a bunch of calcifications.
Right.
You drink a lot of coffee. And I'm like, I own a coffee house. So,
Mm.
I'm like, okay. If I had not met you, I don't think my outcome would be the same, because now I'm doing everything because I met you. I knew exactly what I needed to hear, and he knew I was hard headed, and he knew who to send to me
Right.
to
I
get
am
me
so
all the
glad
way
you met
straight.
you.
Yes.
I am so glad. There is only one Regina.
Oh, and I can tell you there's only one Jeannette Gregory. And look, every time I say your name, I got to say your first and your last.
Right.
Because I always said I got the right person for you.
Yeah.
Wow. So we have been on this podcast. I told you it was going to be about 45 minutes, and it's been about an hour now, because I could tell.
Okay. We knew better. You get that house built, I'm coming. Tell Coach to go away. I'm ringing the doorbell.
You know, my husband said, he's like, who your podcast with? I said, Jeannette. Oh, can you tell her I said hi? Yeah, I'll do that. So,
Yeah, tell him I say hello. He's the best of the best.
Oh, he is so amazing.
A man that loves his wife and those beautiful girls.
Oh my, them girls, they don't want mommy. They want daddy. They want daddy and his grilled cheeses, and daddy and his driving fast. They want to learn how to drive a race car like him. So they love their dad. But Jeannette, I want to thank you so much for. I know we've been trying to do this podcast for a while, but
yeah,
life has happened, and I know September is the month that you take a good vacation. Did you get that vacation?
I didn't. I always go to the beach. We didn't go. COVID, and plus we got a new grandbaby, so I keep him now.
Oh,
and so everything really is on hold in certain areas, but Celebrate Life goes on. I'm trying to raise him up so he can help, because my grandchildren are the core.
Yes.
Of Celebrate Life.
Yes.
I start working them early.
Yeah, as you should.
And as soon as he can tie a ribbon and pack a bag, he's gonna.
I'm laughing because I know it's so true, because I've been to your home and I've seen them bears. I've seen over there in that bubble wrap.
Yeah.
Boxes.
And those grandchildren have to. And my newest baby, his name is Brave. He's going to have to be brave to hang with this grandma.
He don't even know yet, or maybe he does.
Yeah. When I'm old, he can drive the pink car around.
Well, I have to make sure that I have you on a live. And I'm definitely going to give away your 3 books. And when we do our live, I would love to make sure that we talk about the books more in detail, because I know that caregivers, men, how to grieve is so important.
It really is.
Jeannette, I want to thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you. I love you. Guys, please look up her organization, Celebrate Life 08. Where can they find more information?
.org. Celebrate Life 08.
08. I have to stop doing that 08.
And I call it 08, but it's a 0. It's not an 8. It's not a O. .org.
ORG. All right, Jeannette, I want to thank you so much for being on. Stay right there. I'm going to stop our podcast recording. And guys, I'm looking forward to doing our live. Remember, Chemo Glow, our YouTube page. Please go subscribe, like, share, leave a review. I appreciate everything that you guys do. Thanks again.
Sound editing is provided by Josh Masters. If you like what you hear, please rate and review the podcast in iTunes. Connect with Chemo Glow on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. You can also find more content at chemoglow.com.